Hello, this is Noreen from Joy Cards, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Yay! For more of my card videos, please hit the subscribe button and the little bell, and you'll be notified when my videos come up. Also, I give away the demo card, so if you like this, put a comment in the video and say you like the card, and you have to put your email address. I can't talk to you without it. Or you can email me, Noreen at joyacards.com, and write me a note. Hey, I saw this so-and-so card, and see if you won, and I'll put it in the mail. So let's get started. This card is unique because it's the last of my third 3 series of laminated cards. And where it's laminated is right here on the jar. This is inside. This is not outside. It's stamped inside, laminated, and colored on top. And look, it doesn't smear. And I did it with blending pens. So this is really cool. You can put all kinds of things in a laminated pouch, like glitter, or if you're doing a nighttime thing, you could put stars. You could put a lot of stuff. And you'll probably see more of these as the days go on. But let's go ahead and start with an early espresso 5.5 by 4 1/4, and we're going to take, and we are using, by the way, jar of flowers. We're going to use the sentiments from Rooted in Nature, and then we're going to be using, of course, the jar punch and the second largest of the rectangle stitch frames, which I'm going to do now. So take your second largest, put it in the middle, open this up, put it in the middle, and die cut it. You can see when I die cutted it, I put tape on it, and I put tape on the part that we're not using, so I don't have to worry about ripping the paper. So I made sure it was exactly in the middle. Now that we've got this open up, let's go ahead and do the inside. I took a piece of Bumblebee at 5 1/4 by 4 and a basic white at 3.75 by 5, snailed those together, and I snailed this back and just put it on the middle. And I'm using the sentiment from Rooted in Nature, and I've got a little espresso spot thing. These are great because I'm not getting my block all inked up, and I only need it for this little piece, so I'm gonna go ahead and ink that up. And then I'm also going to grab a stamping pad because it always works better on a stamping pad. I'm sorry. Even though you can use these, I would use a stamping pad. So I'm going to go ahead and put this at the top right here. So I've got these 3.7 by 5.2 thermal laminating pouches, and they look like this. And a laminating pouch will be open on just the one side. So go ahead and open this up, and we're going to stamp the jar and the little stems. So let's go ahead and grab the jar and stamp this up. I'm stamping this in black StazOn, so I'm going to get it nice and inked up, and I'm going to put it right here toward the bottom because it's going to be on the bottom of the card. I am using a stamping pad too. It's just, you know, a good idea. So I've done that. And now I'm going to grab the stems. There's a top stem and a bottom stem, so make sure you got them going the right direction. And ink this up. And you can use regular ink. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp this toward the top of the jar and bring it down. Hold it on real good. It looks like that. Now we're going to take this and we're going to put it to the side and let it dry. So just make sure you put something that keeps this open. You don't want it to smear. Now we're going to grab the jar punch, and we're going to use this beautiful Berry Delight paper that was in the new catalog, the January to June. Or actually, no, this is a celebration. And if it's before at the end of February when this video comes up, then it's still good. But if it's after February, you missed out. So this is fantastic paper, and I hope they put it in the annual catalog in June because it's crazy good. So go ahead and take your paper, put it right here in the middle, push it all the way to the end of the punch, and go ahead and punch out your jar. It'll look like this. Now you're going to grab that big daisy flower right here from Jar of Flowers. We're going to get our early espresso. I put it on one of these little spot things. And like I said, you know, every situation is kind of different. I chose to do this instead of the big stamping pad because if I used a big stamping pad, I'd have my block covered in all kinds of ink. So I would rather use the little one when I've got kind of a intricate stamp. I want it to make sure I got the ink everywhere without making a huge mess. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp 2 of these. Now this is a stamp that doesn't have any cushion to it, so you do need to use the Stampin' pad. So do 2 of these in early espresso. Went ahead and I cut that piece of paper in half because I don't want to smear anything, so put one to the side. And we're going to be using the Mango Melody, and I'm going to start, believe it or not, with the dark. And I'm just going to do the bottom parts of the sunflower petals here. I finished up my dark, and now I'm going to fill the rest of the leaf with the light Mango Melody. Now that I finished with the light Mango Melody, I'm going to go back with the dark. I think these are more like layering pens rather than blending pens. It's just adding layers and getting them to mix together. So I'm just giving it just a little bit more color here. Now, believe it or not, I'm going back with the light and color it a little bit more and make it a little bit darker. Now you're going to take the bronze and do the middle of the flowers and this little thing here, whatever this is, and I'm just going to color that in, and I'm going to give it a couple of layers. Bronze doesn't have a light and a dark, it's just its own thing, so I'm going to color it at least twice. Colored these twice. I also took the little spaces between the flowers that weren't flowers, and I colored that in bronze too. So these little pieces right here, I did bronze. And now we're going to go ahead and do a 2-tone on the old and dark old olive. And so I'm going to now color in all the leaves and the stems in light old olive, and then I'm going to follow up with a dark old olive. Colored these all in light old olive. Now I'm just going to go in with a dark old olive and just give it something. Now I'm going to just kind of blend them together and with the light old olive again. Now that you've got them all colored, guess what? There's no die for this, so we're just going to have to fussy cut it. So go ahead and relax and breathe and I'm going to give mine a little white outline. So I think the trick to fussy cutting is taking it slow. Also try to, like, you know how I'm going back and forth with my scissors just to give it not such a straight look. So I'm gonna do both of these and I'll be back. Now let's make the sentiment tag, and we're going to be using our rectangle stitch frames, and we're going to take the 2 smallest ones. Now I cut the bigger one in early espresso, and now we need to stamp the sentiment before we die cut it. So we're going to take Rooted in Nature, Words Are Never Enough, and take our little spot 1 here, and I'm going to ink it up real good, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp this. And then I'm going to take the die, I'm going to tape it up and die cut it. And now that it's die cut, I put some dimensionals on the back, and we're just going to layer it on top of this one. I did it the opposite as of the card, and I think this way is a little prettier. So now next step. Now we're going to go ahead and take our jar here, and we're always going to feed in the closed side in first. I'm going to try to get all my doggy's DNA off. This is my A-box laminator, and it's got the big cutter on it. It's awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and feed this right through. And there's the piece. And look, it doesn't smear, it doesn't do anything. It's awesome. Now we're going to take our laminated sheet, and we're going to get this DS paper again, flip it over to the other side, and snail this up, and we're going to attach the jar like so. And I did trim up the laminate. So now let's get it on the card. Before we actually put it on the card, I'm going to go ahead and take my Granny Apple green Stampin' Right marker and color in the stems. I'm going to grab my light Night and Navy and just put a little blue in here for the water. So I'm going to color in the blue. So now we got this part. Well, I did make a tiny little mistake, but we can fix it. When you were cutting out this punch originally, you should have grabbed two of them, had them go back to back, and then cut the punch so they line up exactly. But since I left that out, here's a way to fix it. So go ahead and do it like you were gonna do in the first place. Line up your punch exactly. Hold it down a little bit and try to grab the one on top. Now we've got these two pieces. Now this is the top one because it has the laminate on the top. Go ahead and line it up and see how well you did on that. Now if it hangs over to one side, it's okay because this is actually got a frame on the inside. So I'm going to take this over to my cutter and cut just a little piece off. I cut a little piece off, so let's go ahead and snail it up. And we're just going to make sure this is on the back. We're going to line these up. So I've got these two. I cut off the back, the side that didn't have the laminate on it. And we're going to lay this on top anyway, so it's not really going to matter. So go ahead and take your little thing here and give it another score real good, because that's a lot of paper that's going down here. And then go ahead and open it up and just snail the very edge of it and snail the very edge of your piece, the back of it, and then just line it up. And it's great. Look at that. And you don't even see the back. So that's a way to, just in case you mess up, you can fix it. Now let's go ahead and put on the sentiment. Just snail it. And we're going to put it right here in the middle. Take your two sunflower pieces, put dimensionals on the one, and that'll go on the front. So go ahead and stick her on. And then on the back, you snail it and you put that on top. Make sure that you cover the one poking through the jar here. And now we're going to put on these little embellishments. Take your pick tool and grab glue dots and put one in each corner. You grab these antique corners and you put them on top of the glue dots. And that's the demo card. So if you like it, put a comment in my video here with your email address and you could win the demo card. So that's it. Thanks. Bye.